All right, hey, welcome back. So I haven't made a video in a little while on the Duramax. So I just want to update you guys. I have almost 16,000 miles on it, 15,800. Overall, knock on wood, haven't had any major issues. Done quite a bit of towing with it. I've towed everything from my boat. It's a smaller boat, but I've towed it quite a bit. Actually towed it over 1,000 miles one way, and then made quite a few 3-4 hour trips. So probably most towing with it. I've towed my car hauler. It's a 20-foot car hauler. You can see a video of it that I've made. I've towed it quite a bit with an older 80s 1-ton truck. Towed that just fine. Towed a dump trailer and then a small utility trailer. So I've had a lot of experience towing with this truck. Not the only probably one I haven't towed that other people use it quite a bit for is a camper. So I can't comment on that. But I just want to give my overall thoughts so far. If you watch my videos on the known issues, most of those have been sorted out. I think the biggest one that's out there that GM just released, their newest, I'd say, fix for. Hopefully this one fixes the problem, and that is the crank no start. It looks like, there's a couple ones. One is it cranks and it never starts. And then the other one is it doesn't start the first time, but you try it again, it starts up. GM believes it's a shim on the crank sensor, and so that's good. That's great news, because that's been a problem for quite a few people. So they're saying it's from 20 to 21 on just about all the ones with the 3.0, including Escalades and the Tahoes, Suburbans, and trucks. So the good news is, if you're having that issue, more than likely it's probably got a fix for it now. I think it's pretty, the shim, it seems like a pretty simple process. They do have to check and make sure the cam trigger isn't bent. If that's bent, it's a significantly different process. And basically they've got to remove the engine to replace that, or the cab off the truck. So both those would not be an exciting thing for me to have done on my truck if it was new. But if it's not that and it's just the shim, that's a pretty easy fix. I believe, don't quote me on this, but I believe it's covered under the bumper to bumper warranty, because it's a sensor. So if you guys are pushing, if you're having that issue and you're pushing up to that warranty level, you better get it in there and at least get it documented that you're having the issue before your warranty expires. So anyways, that's on that side. Let's talk about my truck now. So I said this before, I still hate the shocks. If you buy one of these trucks, I don't know, I'd just plan on spending a couple $100 and putting the Bilstein shocks on it, the 5200s more than likely, or 5100s. I don't remember exact number they are, but yeah, the shocks are horrible. They're Ranchos, and I would replace them. So I still dislike that. Power wise, it has no problem. And I know a lot of people are gonna not like what I'm about to say. And guys, hey, my take on this is, I own the 3.0, but I want to give the most honest and accurate information I can, in terms of, just because I own it doesn't mean it's the best. And I've said it a lot in my videos that this fits a specific niche. I wouldn't drive it, just short trips in town, 1,000 miles, 5,000 miles a year. I think that's a terrible thing for one of these trucks. Again, I've got almost 16,000 miles, and I've had the truck somewhere 8-ish months, 9 months now. I think that works well for that, and it works good for towing medium-sized loads. So that's my honest opinion. But so here's my, I think it's the power that we're talking about again is, and I think I've said it before, maybe it's torque, right? It's not this horsepower monster like the 6.2 is. So understand that, right? So if you're wanting, let's just say passing is a prime example where this truck does okay, but the 6.2 blows it out of the water. And to be honest, I think the 5.3 even, and I've never driven the 2.7 4-cylinder turbo, so I can't speak intelligently whatsoever to that. But I definitely think the 5.3 would probably beat this in passing. And again, that's just horsepower, higher RPM. When you get on it and you get your RPMs up, the 5.3 and 6.2, for sure the 6.2 just pulls and continues to pull, where this, it doesn't matter if you're 2,000 RPMs or 3,000 RPMs, the torque's almost the same with it, and horsepower is very similar. So you're not gaining a whole lot by just increasing your RPMs. So I almost want to say this is like an old man or old person, not just a man. There's plenty of females that would drive this truck, or the 3.0 and the Suburban Tahoe or trucks, whatever they like. But it does its job and it does it well, but it's nothing too exciting, which is also great, right? I mean, when I'm towing, I don't want it shifting all the time. I like it just to, just stay at the RPM it's at and just go up the hill, go down, and it's an enjoyable drive, and that's what this does well. But when you punch it, if you're, first couple years, great. But if you're passing something or passing someone, it's not too impressive. And again, I know there's going to be plenty of people that doesn't like that, but that's the truth in my mind. So, that's that. Where I think a lot of people also get into problems with this truck. Be careful with the load. I mean, the load limit, how you're carrying the load. If you're camper, tongue weight. I put the video out there on setting up or the weight distribution hitch. You see a lot of people are adding airbags, which is great. There's a lot of times I put quite a bit of weight in the bed of the truck, and airbags work great for that. There's the active suspension spring adder that's supposed to fix a lot of problems. A lot of people buying those and adding them. Understand that these trucks have pretty, I don't want to say weak, but soft springs in the back for the, a lot of that's for the ride. And so they not only squat in the back with a decent tongue weight or load in the bed, but they also raise the front end up because they're not as heavy on the front end. And so I'm not too worried about the squatting in the back. It looks worse than it is sometimes. I'm more worried about the front end lifting up. And again, hey, I'm not saying there's a major problem, but GM does say, if you're over 7,000 pounds, you need to be using a weight distribution hitch. A lot of people are trying to throw airbags on it or some active suspension stuff to try to make up for using a weight distribution hitch. Listen, if you're over 7,000 pounds, put a weight distribution hitch on it. To be honest, if you're even under 7,000 pounds, you benefit a lot of times from weight distribution hitch. They are not even close to being the same as airbags or anything else. It transfers weight to the front. This is a common misconception is, hey, throw airbags on it, it'll level it back up. but it actually does nothing for the true problem, which is the front end lifting up, causing issues like less, you have less braking power, you have less steering. There's a lot of stuff that reasons you want to run a weight distribution hitch. On my car hauler, there's a lot of, people back the car, back it up on the car hauler and put more weight on the trailer and try to do it that way. To be honest, I used to do that all the time. Anymore, I just run a weight distribution hitch and not worry about it. And that way I could put the weight on the truck and put the front end back on the ground with that. So anyways, if you buy one for towing, which again is where it really shines, honestly consider getting a weight distribution hitch. Just so you're aware, mine, I run 1,200 pound bars, so it's a 12,000 pound rated hitch, and the trailer I'm running's only 7,000 pounds. So but that allows me to put 900 pounds, which is the max, I believe, for this truck, the way mine's set up. 900 pounds tongue weight on it, and my bars will easily level the truck back out. So that's another problem I see. A lot of people have too weak of bars or incorrectly adjusted, and so they, even with the bars on there, their truck is still squatting in the back. With the bars I have, basically the truck will be pretty much flat, and so it's not squatting, it's not lifting the front end, it's very level with those adjusted. So that's my thoughts on that. One thing, I think durability long term, I think that's up in the air, and I think you see a lot of stuff posted online where you see multiple different groups. You have people who love them because they spend a lot of money buying the truck, and you have people that can't stand them or hate them or had tons of problems. And I think one of the big questions is long-term durability. How well does it do at 100,000 miles, 150,000 miles, that kind of stuff, and that's unknown. And it's not only the engine. I think it's the 10-speed transmission, and the whole truck. So we'll see. Time will tell, what that looks like. But my thoughts on the truck, again, I love it. It does very well. I don't think it's for everyone. And I've said this on a couple message boards, and people get pissed. Because some people are like, should I buy the 2.7? Should I buy the 3.0? Should I buy the 5.3? If I was driving short distances in town often, I would get the gas engine. You just have less maintenance, cheaper maintenance. You don't have the fuel filters. You don't have the DEF. You don't have the regen process. There's just so many reasons. And you're not going to get the savings, the fuel economy savings, because you're probably not putting that many miles on it if you're just doing short trips. So that's what I would do. The long trips, the towing quite a bit. That's where the 3.0 shines. So also with towing, I think the other thing I wanted to talk about was DEF usage. It's somewhere around that 2%, which is kind of across the industry as a kind of a standard for DEF usage on the trucks, 2 to 3%. And this truck used about 2%. So every gallon of, or every 100 gallons, let's say, of fuel you use, you're going to use 2 gallons of DEF. So that kind of gives you an idea. Now towing, it drinks the DEF. So that's probably my biggest caution, I guess. If you're towing a lot, and this brings maybe an interesting, sorry I'm jumping here, but the boat that I'm towing uses significantly more DEF and probably more fuel than even my small dump trailer in my car hauler, just because of the way it's shaped and the wind it catches. So campers, I would expect the same thing out of. Maybe if you get to the point where you're really heavy overloaded, maybe it goes back to normal. But myself, and I've seen others, you're seeing 6% DEF usage on the higher load. So that that's significant. I mean, the tank's only 4.5 gallons or whatever it is, or 4 gallons. I don't remember exactly, but you could go very quickly through a tank of DEF towing. So that's I want to say not a complaint at all, just something to be aware of if you're getting one. DEF usage while towing. If you're not towing, it's you don't even know. I mean, it's barely uses any. 2%'s nothing when you're getting 27 miles per gallon. It takes you a lot of miles to burn through 100 gallons to even burn through 2 gallons of DEF. So DEF, not a concern on daily driving. Could be a concern. You might need to pack extra with you on a trip if you're going a long ways towing a large load. So the last thing I guess I want to touch on is, in my opinion, this fits that niche, and people hate when I say that, or not everyone, but there's been significant comments made where it's more than a niche, it's whatever. And again, I would like to give an honest, hopefully as much unbiased opinion as I can. I've owned a couple diesels other than this one, so I've experienced it with them, and I've got a lot of experience with the 5.3. I've put hundreds of thousands of miles on 5.3s at this point, so I feel very confident when I say there's a niche. It does not fit everyone. I think there's a lot of people pushing the limits on it. People towing over, number one, towing over the spec limit. Don't do that. It's unsafe. The brakes on these trucks are decent at best, but no load. But when you put 9,000 pounds and let's say you have a problem with your trailer brakes, it's going to push the truck you're barely going to stop the truck more than likely. And I know from experience, I did it. And so that's where a 3/4 ton or 1 ton makes great towing. That's not what you don't want to have that happen, but if you do have it happen, hey, it's not an emergency situation at that point. And so pushing the limit on this truck, or even over the limit, is to me, you're asking for trouble. If you do it like I towed, that max load for, 30 miles or whatever it was, hey, I'll probably never tow that again. If I was towing often towards that max load, there is no question in my mind I would have a 3/4 ton or 1 ton single, one of the two. So it has to do with safety, both from a liability standpoint, but also just a safety for you, your passengers, and everyone else on the road. Where if you're at the maximum, for me, towing these small loads in drivability and comfort, it does fantastic. With that being said, I've considered, with the prices that they're at right now, I've considered selling the truck. I'm not sure I will, but just because I've had zero issues, when a lot of people have, knock on wood, a lot of people have had some small issues. Again, nothing too major, but and waiting until some other 3/4 tons or even a 1 ton would come out. But it's hard for me to justify, because I put half the mileage is towing, half of it's driving, just as almost a grocery getter. So that's my thoughts there. So anyways, that's the update. Hopefully you guys, if you own them, please make comments. Again, I'm trying to make this as unbiased as possible. There's too much of this, well, I own it, it's the best. That's not true. And so I have a bias, and I'm trying not to project that here. I want to just give you the truth, or what I believe is an honest opinion of it. So hopefully that's helpful if you're looking to buy one. It's definitely been good for me. I think it'd be great in a Suburban or Tahoe. I don't know, once you get a Suburban, if you put, you know, a big trailer on the back of the Suburban, now you're pushing up there higher in that weight class. And you know, how long does the transmission last? You know, the 10-speed. Now, if you were talking the Allison transmission, or probably even the Allison branded transmission, it's a different animal. But the 10 speeds that GM and Ford built together, if you have much faith in those two companies working together to get a good product, you know, I don't know. I question if it's going to be there long term. But the only, and you guys know I have a lot of options. I have the heads-up display on this truck. The only option I wish I probably would have on it is maybe the off-road diesel package, because it would have the 373 gears that may add a little more drivability to it. But again, I have no problem with the current gears, and I'd hate to give up fuel economy if it gave up a whole lot with those. So anyways, thank you for watching. Feel free to comment. I'll try to make a couple more of these videos. If you haven't watched my tire pressure sensor video, if you have one of these trucks, hands down, that's probably the best thing you could do if you have the sensor behind your license plate. Please watch that video and do that. It makes trailering a dream. So anyways, thanks, and please subscribe. It helps me a lot. Thanks for watching.